Welcome to the Friday Lights, Camera, Cleveland edition of Tennessee Valley This Morning. I'm the Hollywood Slinky. With me is Rob Alderman, and today Rob picks a topic. Ready? Go.
I didn't deserve to be Whitneyed. If you're going to hand it here. Yeah. You know what? We're taking this away. Because if you're not going to Whitney carefully, if you're not going to Whitney with prudence, you don't get to Whitney. Earlier this week, a new radio spot opened for the Habitat for Humanity Bike-to-Build featuring Aaron Weatherford rapping a Vanilla Ice song. What do you think about that?
Well, I think that it's perfect casting, first of all. If you're going to have a white guy with no rhythm and no tone do some sort of rap fest, if you will, then I guess a rhapsody, as it were, then I suppose you would go with Aaron Weatherford. You know, in high school, a lot of people don't know this, but they used to call him Ice A.
It's true. That's very true. I will say this about young Master Weatherford. He's got the moves. I was listening to the radio spot, and he's got some moves. And that's all I can say about it. When I listened to it, I was highly entertained.
Well, I know that sometimes, if you're really lucky, he'll do a performance with his funky bunch, Nancy Neal and Matt Ryerson.
I believe that to be true. I believe that to be true. We have a big show coming up for you today.
By all measurements of FCC standards, it's at least 60 minutes.
Yeah, it is gigantic show. We have Jake Stum from People for Care and Learning and Jake Stum from First Baptist Church on the show today. Both of those guests are on the show with us today.
You had to pick which was your favorite.
That's tough.
We'll revisit
when
this
faced
at the
with
end.
two Stums, how does one choose?
I don't know.
They're both handsome.
Two Stums up.
They are both of them are charismatic. Both preach a little bit. One's trying to build a city in Cambodia, the other a city of God. We're going to ask them about both of those things. We have some big news. We have some movie news. So all I can say is stop, collaborate, and listen. We'll be right back after this.
Welcome back to the Friday Lights, Camera, Cleveland edition of Tennessee Valley This Morning.
We're sorry.
Back. All right, this is the part of the show where we do our big news.
The big news.
Where does this news come from? It's huge.
It's so big. I'm going to tell you where it comes from. I get the Cleveland Daily Banner delivered to my casa.
That's fantastic.
The guy drives past mi casa and throws the Daily Banner into my yard. I walk down off my front porch and I pick the newspaper up. What's on the front page, you ask?
What is on the front page?
Now I'm going to tell you.
I'd love you to.
In big news today locally, the school board budget gets an okay for a 3% salary raise.
Well, that is mighty kind of them.
I will tell you why that's a big deal. Because, as you know, we just had Adam Lowe on the show talking about the wheel tax.
Indeed.
The wheel tax is all revolving around educators not having enough money. I would just like to point out, okay, when we're discussing, I'm not going to tell you how to vote, people. I don't do that. Rob Alderman doesn't come on here. Yoda does not come on here to tell you how to vote. But what I am going to say is this. 3% raise for our educators seems not that awesome. That's my own. I'm glad they're getting a raise. I want them to have a raise. I want to make that clear. I want you to have a raise, but it's like, when's the last time anybody said, Slinky, I'm giving you a 3% raise?
Last time I used to work for you.
Oh!
Snap!
Here's my point. Is a 3% raise is kind of like, it's not like you go home and the wife high-fives you and everybody, 3%, 3%. That's not like, well, we're taking another vacation this year.
For reference, that's like 3 cents to a dollar.
Yeah, well.
See, that's math.
Clearly you are a product of our public school system.
That's right.
Anyway, in other big news, area avoids storms for now. We were all out there yesterday. I think we all did our share of hiding under the beds or in our closets or at least thinking about running to our basements. At one point, I went outside the building I was in, and it was a lot hotter outside than I would prefer that late in the evening, and I thought, oh, is this the big one? And I think we're always going to think that from now on. You know, we've been talking a lot. We're right here. It's the, 1 year since the tornadoes. Last night was a little spooky.
Yeah, you know what? I took refuge in my basement. I know Aaron Weatherford was hiding in the closet.
It was, yeah, I heard that as well. Anyway, for those of you that were scared about the storms, I can just say that we understand that we were.
But we have avoided them.
We have avoided them
for now.
And the reason it's for now is apparently this evening. It's going to be bad. Friday evening. For those
of you,
Friday evening, it's going to be bad again. And if it's not, then it's different.
Then we have avoided them again. For now.
In other big news, and this one's very important.
It's huge.
This one was this is in the print edition and the web edition.
Oh my.
Miss Vicky, Ryan, to retire after 33 years. Miss Vicky has been at Lake Forest Middle School for 33 years in different capacities. I know that she gets up every day and watches this show. She is a longtime viewer of our show. We've been at this now a month and a half.
Sure.
And she is a longtime
viewer. She adores us. We get letters from her all the time.
Dear Rob, dear Ryan, it's Miss Vicky. Loved your show. That's like the sort of thing that she says.
Yeah, constantly.
With us now.
We go live.
From Lake Forest Middle School, we go live to our correspondent, Alan Mincy. Alan?
Alan, what's the situation like at the middle school right now?
It's kind of in the middle.
Have you spoken to Miss Vicky about her retirement?
Miss Vicky is retiring
after 33 years.
After 33 years.
After 33 years.
Does this upset you?
It does. I did not know that.
Now you told us earlier that she is the wife of who?
Oh, I'm sorry. I confused Miss Vicky with Tiny Tim's Miss Vicky. You remember Tiny Tim?
You are wigging me out right now,
Tiptoe.
Alan Mincy.
Should I sing?
God bless
I hope that
everyone.
You will.
It's tiptoe through the tulips. That's about all I can do.
I feel everything good dying inside me.
You should maybe give me back the Whitney horn.
Why does this always happen? Well, thank you for being with us, Alan Mincy.
Do I have to go back?
Yeah, go back, please.
It's not fun under here.
I believe that that's true. In national news.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Stevie, why do we do this? Why do we
I don't know.
do this? I didn't think.
Thanks.
Honestly, here was my thing. I thought, this won't be a big deal. It'll have to be more animated than the puppet.
And instead, it was an impression of the puppet.
An impression of the puppet. Why would a human being do that? In national news, Davy Jones is dead.
That's right. Davy Jones was, he's being credited as the lead singer of the Monkees by the AP, which is interesting because I think we all know Mickey Dolenz was the lead singer of the Monkees.
Mickey was the lead singer, but Davy was the best singer.
Maybe so. But Davy Jones died at the age of 66 of a heart attack. And that's
sad.
Very sad.
You know, here's the deal: is people forget how influential the Monkees were. They're every bit as influential in musical lexicon as the Beatles, just not as big. Influential, right. Yes. Though. I mean, at the same time, people think about the Monkees as just having this funny TV show, when in reality they were a highly successful, multi-million album-selling band.
That's right.
And losing Davy Jones. Here's the deal: Davy Jones was so popular that he's the reason Star Trek had Chekhov.
That's right.
When they cast Chekhov for Star Trek, you may not know this, ladies, but you clamored so loudly. You said, we need more Davy Jones in our science fiction. And so they went out and they said, we're going to cast somebody.
That's right.
Who looks the most like Davy Jones. They found Chekhov and they
put a wig on him.
They put a wig on him, said, you are Davy Jones. In other news, Mr. Breitbart is dead. From the Breitbart News.
He was only 43 years old.
43 years old. Now, I don't know how many of you follow that. I've got the app. I mean, it's been a pretty credible news source for a long time. And I think that in many ways, what was interesting about Breitbart was that he didn't subscribe to feeling the need to be conservative or liberal news. He kind of just did his thing in general. He himself was a pretty conservative guy, I think, by all accounts. But in general, his news was well respected, and we mourn his loss, being serious journalists ourselves. Moment of silence. In other news, the average price for gas is $3.73, and the potential for a $5 a gallon gas by summer due to Middle East tension. Here's my problem. Are you ready?
You have many problems.
Camera one. We've had Middle East tensions a long time. They've been going on, and First Baptist Jake Stum will point this out when he, as you know,
he's our second guest.
Our second guest, First Baptist Jake Stum is a historical scholar, a biblical scholar. And what he can tell you is that the Middle East tensions have always existed. They've existed a really, 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 really long time. That's historical data that I got from Jake Stum. And what I can tell you is it's not going to go away for a really, 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 really long time. So if we are letting our gasoline prices be dictated by Middle East tension, I think there's a problem. I don't think that this should be. I think we need to just say, look, the tensions are there. They've been there. Let's get it back down to 75 cents?
I think that my biggest issue with this is how everyone is using this as an opportunity to attack the president. As if the president personally controls OPEC and the price of gasoline and oil.
Everything is the president's fault.
Well, this is true. But studies have actually shown that the president can only influence about 18% of the price of a gallon of gasoline. And that's only influence because any changes that he could make on that would all be directly resultant to federal gasoline taxes. And of course
can I blame him for 18% of the problem?
You could blame him some for the 18% of the problem because he would still have to get it past Congress.
I'm angry. I'm angry about that 18%, and I want to see it go away. I had to have my say.
Okay.
You got some movie news?
I do. I have lots of movie news. First one's very sad. 31 years ago this year, there was a little movie called The Blues Brothers. And in the middle of that movie, they drive a bunch of cars through a mall.
I love it.
And completely devastated.
One of the best scenes in movie history.
Well, this mall was the Dixie Square Mall in Harvey, Illinois, and it had been abandoned at the time. It had closed in 1979, and so they basically put fake storefronts up, and they drove all their cars through it and crashed it. And it has been empty ever since. And this year, just this past week, they have finally begun demolition and are tearing down the Dixie Square Mall.
Does that make you sad?
It does make me a little sad.
It was empty and just destroyed. Could you walk through it?
No.
Could you go in and say, hey, I'm a big fan of the Blues Brothers,
no.
And I want to see this?
No. It's just a piece of film history, and it's gone.
Yeah, that's fair. What else we got?
We've also got box offices up 21% this year over last year, which seems like a big deal, but you have to consider it's also down from 2009 and 2010 by a little bit. So last year was just a particularly smaller year, or you could consider 2009 maybe was a big year because you had Avatar at this point already. So.
Well, we've got time for one more, and then we got to go to commercial.
All right, well, the last one is that Taylor Swift is being connected now romantically, rumors have it, with football star Tim Tebow.
This is not surprising.
Now, here's my thoughts on this.
They're both so perfect.
Here's the thing about Taylor Swift, all right? Okay, like her music or not, she's cute.
Yes.
She is. There's something about her that's incredibly charming.
Yes.
And let me just throw this out there. Something truly evil as well. Here's
deep down inside, I think that's true.
She's what, 19?
Maybe.
Let's talk
20?
about the list of men she's been with already that hasn't worked out.
Or not. Or not.
What do you mean or not?
You don't have an entire list?
I do have a list.
She's dated a lot of guys?
She's dated Joe Jonas. She's dated Lucas Till. Taylor Lautner, John Mayer, Corey Monteith, who's on Glee, and Jake Gyllenhaal. And
That's
now
very
Tim
strange.
Tebow.
Well, I think we need to warn Tim because, as we all know, Tim Tebow is the Matt Ryerson of the greater world.
That's right.
We have Matt Ryerson, and the rest of the world has Tim Tebow. And Tim, I would say this to Matt Ryerson if Matt Ryerson was about to date Taylor Swift. I know for a while they
I thought you were going to pair Matt Ryerson up with Tim Tebow.
No, I did try to think. Could you imagine? Anyway, that's powerful. That's powerful right there.
They would be
football and social work.
Celebrity couple Ryerbo this week.
Raising money, doing good, all for the team. Anyway, that won't work out. But here's the deal. Well, what I was trying to think of was what is Cleveland's version of Taylor Swift? We know that Matt Ryerson is our version of Tim Tebow. We've already discussed that on the show. We need to figure out. We're not going to do it right now. Let's not try to do it right now. We're going to think on it. But next show, boy, Jake Stump from People for Care and Learning.
He's nervous.
Really nervous.
I hope it's not me.
I hope I'm not Taylor Swift of Cleveland.
Interestingly enough, 10 years ago, the Taylor Swift of Cleveland would have been you.
We will be right back with Jake Stump from People for Care and Learning.
Terrifying.
You freaked me out. That was the...
Hi, I'm Brittany Jackson. Join me every Wednesday night at 6:30 and midnight where we will highlight local sports, chat with coaches, and discover new tips every week. Only on In the Spotlight with Brittany Jackson.
Hi, I'm Dr. Dennis Ford, board certified in anti-aging medicine and pain management. Have you had recent decrease in energy, lack of sex drive, feel moody, grumpy, or sad? If so, you may have low testosterone and be a candidate for bioidentical hormone replacement. Listen to what two of my patients have to say.
Before I came to the Ford Clinic, I had to have a nap every day.
When I got off work, I'd lay around, really didn't want to do much and felt real lazy.
I've noticed since I had the testosterone implant that I can go a good 8 hours doing the things I enjoy doing.
I had it done, took about 25, 30 minutes, 5 months, and I'm doing good. My stomach, my muscles, they've completely changed. My fat level has dropped. Get to go out and run, exercise with my son. My muscles are just getting stronger.
If you'd like to change your life, please call me at Ford Center for Pain Management and Anti-Aging Medicine at 423-400-9115.
It's a very simple process, and it's well worth it.
Hello, I'm Dr. Gupta, and I'd like to introduce you to a valuable new healthcare solution here in Cleveland. Hyperbaric Services of East Tennessee is now open and accepting patients. Hyperbaric oxygen therapy is an incredible treatment clinically tested for a variety of physical and neurologic conditions, including autism, multiple sclerosis, fibromyalgia, migraine headaches, chronic fatigue syndrome, and even sports injuries and sprains. Hyperbaric oxygen therapy is a simple, safe, and painless process that raises a patient's oxygen level in the body. This increased oxygen level in our tissues and organs boosts the body's natural healing abilities and allows our bodies to function at a higher level. We will be happy to work in cooperation with your regular physician. However, referral is not required for this treatment. So whether you're dealing with a weekend injury, a chronic medical condition, or looking for anti-aging solutions, you owe it to yourself to explore what hyperbaric oxygen treatment can do for you or your loved ones. I invite you to contact us today for some more information.
I'm Wes Robbins with Landmark Insurance Brokerage. When it comes to employee benefits, we've got you covered. Call me today for the best service and best solutions to your group health and employee benefits needs. At Landmark Insurance Brokerage, we've got you covered.
I could do that though. I could do that for the entire segment.
Man, you know what?
He broke into the robot at the end.
All we were
Strong.
lacking, we were
Thanks.
lacking
I'm
a
trying to fit in
little,
here.
a little Aaron Weatherford. We need some vocals, and we'd have had it. So welcome back to the Friday morning Tennessee Valley this morning. I'm the Hollywood Slinky. This is Rob Alderman, and the guy in the chair over there is Jake Stum.
Jake Stum, with People for Care and Learning.
That's right. Not to
All
be
right.
confused with Jake Stum.
From First Baptist Church.
Yeah, he's up next, right?
He's
He
up
is.
after you.
He's way better.
You know, what was a little embarrassing, though, is I saw the two of you in the green room before we started recording, and I noticed that you guys had both actually worn the same blouse today, which is really kind of embarrassing.
We actually coordinated. It's really strange.
It's not as embarrassing as you saying our guest has on a blouse. But, you know, what works? It's television,
It
people.
is television.
It's a little bit more highbrow.
Well, Jake is here to talk a little bit, this particular Jake is here to talk about the Build a City campaign.
Yes.
So now Build a City is attempting to build the city of Andong, Cambodia, correct?
That's correct.
Well,
yeah.
why don't you tell us a little bit about Andong and why we have to build it?
Okay. That will be awesome. I'm very excited about it. It's probably one of the most exciting things I've had the opportunity to work on. In 2007, People for Care and Learning started working in Andong, and it was a small village then. And pretty soon thereafter, there was some families living in a trash dump community, and there were some other families living close to that along a riverbank. And the government needed some prime real estate to build a new hotel for some economical growth. And so they relocated families from the trash dump and this area right by the river to different squatter camps around the city of Phnom Penh. One of those villages was Andong. So kind of overnight, or not overnight, within a period of a month, the population swelled from a few hundred families to 1,800 families in this one village. So the United Nations developed a poverty reduction plan to build homes for the people that were in this village, and People for Care and Learning partnered with them. And we built about 300 homes. And you know, the issue of extreme poverty is so complex that a home is great, but over the last several years we've noticed that we believe that to address really in a holistic ways the poverty cycle, it's going to require more than a home. There in the village now, the sewage doesn't drain properly, so the gray water backs into the houses where they sleep. And it just creates, there's no education. So our director, Fred Garman, back in July of last year said, you know, what if we just built the whole city? 1,800 homes, over 8,000 families, an underground sewer system, a school, a clinic, in a holistic way. What if we really focused on this village and tried to help them break this poverty cycle for the next generation? So we believe it's our responsibility to care for the poor. So we're really excited about that.
Well, why? I want to back up for just a second, and I'm curious, why were they living in a trash dump?
You know, this is a third world problem. Several different countries. I also do some work in Ethiopia, very similar problem where the poorest of the poor, their only opportunity for income is to dig through the trash dump to find recyclables, and they'll take those and sell them and live on anywhere between 50 cents and $1.25 a day, something like that. So this is the absolute bottom rung, so to speak, in those cultures that are in these situations.
Now, I have heard, you know, a lot about this project. Obviously, knowing you and I work on the long-term recovery organization together. I do a lot of work with the guys from the Whiteboard Network that did the website. Ryan knows them real well. So we've known about this project really before the big explosion, I guess, of media that's happened. And it's been fantastic to watch the way it's being shared on social media, the way the news is carrying it. That's one reason we wanted to get you in here to talk about it, is because we believe in the cause so much. One of the things that I've found interesting about this is at some point early on I was having a conversation and I believe it was with Taylor Jones from the Whiteboard Network, and he had just come back. You guys had taken him there to witness this, and his mind was blown, right? And he was describing to me that a lot of the problem is that, and I find this unique, and I want to be sure, Camera One, I want to make certain that people understand I'm not attacking, I am not attacking church groups. Okay, but he was explaining that because poverty is so immense and we can't possibly wrap our mind around it, that one of the problems is you have this group and they say, we're going to do a short-term missions trip. And they go and they build like a waterway. But they never think, well, now we need to maintain it. What does that look like to maintain? And then somebody else says, well, we're going to go in and we're going to build a market. But they didn't know that these other people were building a waterway. And so the waterway ends up flowing sewage through the marketplace. And it's like all these good intentions getting jumbled up. And I think one of the things that I find interesting about the Build a City project is you guys are saying, hey, let's start from scratch with no other real, it's not that you're not getting input from other agencies.
Right.
Obviously you are. There's a lot of people that are inputting into this. What is it, how did you guys go about the massive engineering of that?
Right.
How does that get done? How does somebody say, this is how someone builds a city? And the reason I said is most cities start organically.
Right.
Somebody builds something next to a river, and the next thing you know, boats come, and somebody builds a pier, and over the course of 50 years, there's a city. How do you guys look at the massive problems with the water that's messed up? You've got trash everywhere. Where are you going to put the trash? Do you mind explaining to us
Sure.
the engineering side of this? Who did that?
Absolutely.
Who went in and figured this out?
Well, you know, at People for Care and Learning, our director, Fred Garman's a visionary. And I kind of tend to be more of a visionary too. So we both get big ideas and get excited about them, and then we have to find people to figure out how to do them. And this was one of them. Fred had the idea of building the city and came back, and we had some focus groups. And you know, he said something really fascinating at the very beginning is, you know, if we focus on all these minor details, we'll never do this. And I really believe we're supposed to do this. So let's say we're going to do it, and then we'll figure it out. So it's been great and to see.
He just described how we prepped for this show.
Yeah, that's very similar, Mr. Garman. That's very similar to how this show happens every Friday.
So it's been amazing to see all the people come into play since then. Since then, we found out about a contractor there in Cambodia that was willing to do all the hard work and all the real detailed topographical studies. Do all the, if you were going to do underground sewage, how would it work? But the biggest key for us was that the Cambodian government signed on to partner with us. They're purchasing.
What did that take? Well, I mean, what was?
Is that unusual?
It is very unusual in this part of the world, and we've been there for 12 years and earned a lot of favor with the government because we have we have feeding centers and orphanages.
So people don't need to think that you just went over with an idea.
Right.
I think that's important. A lot of times we think when we're trying to help somebody out, it even happens here in town. You go over to a neighborhood that is poverty-stricken even here, and you say, I've got the answer to all your problems,
Right.
and they're going to say, you need to get out of here. You
That's
don't
right.
understand
Now,
what we're doing.
were you there helping when it was still, you know, the two separate villages, or did you go once they were combined?
No, I went 3 years ago. I went, so it was still.
But
we had already started
People for
constructing
Care and
houses.
Learning's been there for 12 years.
12 years. Been in Cambodia for 12 years.
Okay.
We haven't been to Andong for 12 years, but you know, earned a lot of favor with the government. We've received the Medal of award from the government for humanitarian aid work before, and that they love PCL. So that opened the door, and they purchased land, and they've done a lot of work for us and with us, and they gave us exclusive rights for the contracting. So it's just been a long process, and to see it come together.
So what happens if there's a church group that says, hey, I want to come there and build this waterway, or hey, I want to come there and build this market? Then do they now have to go through you and put it where your engineers and things kind of plan for it to be?
If it's a church group that's not connected with us, is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Yeah. They would have to call PCL and what,
Because you've been given the contracting rights for that city.
for that city.
So you've
They
not,
wouldn't be
so
able
the
to
doors
do
aren't closed. It's more like just you're now like managing the
Right.
the
Right.
reconstruction.
And you know, our mission is to give the poor a working chance. So our strategy is to employ Cambodians from this village to do the work. So we really don't want church groups to go build houses. We want Cambodians to build the houses.
It's fantastic.
So, you know, if church groups go, we're really going and we're seeing what's going on. We're encouraging the workers. We're finding some ways to help in that way. But we want the Cambodians from this village to do the work on the houses.
How are they reacting to that? The Cambodia. I mean, what are you seeing there on the ground as this thing is starting to take place?
For the most part, great excitement. We had over 1,000 people from the village come to the groundbreaking, which was a great sign for us. They were very excited. You know, we have a council that we've been working with for the past 6 months, which includes government officials, people from the village, and our staff. And they meet every week just to prepare people. This is what's going to happen when we build it, when we're going to build your house. So everybody knows the process. It's a 3-year process, and they are for the most part, very, very excited. Yeah.
One of the issues that we have in America when we do government help and do things like public housing and things like that is we end up with housing poor people who, you know, they're housed in government housing, and they don't take care of it, and they mistreat it partly because you know they were homeless or whatever, and so they've never understood what it means to care for those things, and
Sure.
partly because there's no sense of ownership because it's just the government's building. How are you guys addressing that sort of issue with these people who, you know, whose last house was a, you know, a plastic box in a trash dump?
We have some plans. We don't know exactly how that's going to go. It's a habitat model, so the families do pay back a very small portion every month.
So do they actually own the house?
They do own the house,
Okay.
but they can't sell their house or give it away for a 5-year period.
Right. So it is the habitat model.
It is the habitat model. Yeah.
I think that's fantastic. That's actually a good, you know, habitat. One of the things that they've been working through is the fact that people sometimes don't see them as community developers, which is what they are.
Right.
They don't just give away houses.
Right.
You know, they help communities to have pride in what
Absolutely.
they're doing. I have a question about a number you said earlier, because I'm a hard-nosed journalist, Jake
Yes.
Stum. You said 8,000 families, 1,800 homes.
8,000 individuals. Sorry.
Okay.
1,800 homes.
Okay. I was
1,800.
wondering how we were going to fit the 8,000 families.
Yeah, we're making like 3 or 4 families move into one home.
You know,
You know.
hey, we're rich Americans. We can build some stuff. That's a fact. Tell us about, if you don't mind, tell us about, I know that along the line there have been some real, I mean, for a lack of a better word, I know that, you know, there are people out there of every kind that watch this show, but for lack of a better word, miracles that have happened along the line. Tell us a little bit about the development of this and how, I mean, this thing's crazy.
Yeah.
Right now. This is crazy.
It's
if people haven't seen it yet, if you haven't seen the video
right.
of what's going down in Cambodia, Camera One, you need to. You need to go to buildacity.org and check it out fast.
Yeah.
But tell us some of these success stories that are going on.
Man, I don't know where to start. We're chasing tons
Well, why don't you do it for us anyway?
Okay, here we go.
That was me being a hard-nosed journalist.
Oh, nice.
You were just Whitney. You earned that one.
From the very beginning, we brought together focus groups from different demographics, different ages, and then locally we have Scott Bragg with Between Pixels who signed on to really help us with the video, just produce our whole marketing campaign. We had Whiteboard from Chattanooga come along and do our web presence because they convinced us we needed to invest time, money, resources, energy into our look, into our brand to communicate excellence and beauty. So from the beginning, that was great guidance. And then just one of our first people that saw the video was John Gregory with the Lausers Foundation. And he went home and said he was going to think about what he would invest. And 2 days later called and he's given us $1 million. So $333,000 over a 3-year period. That's a matching grant. So if somebody donates $1,000 for a home, immediately it's matched and they build 2 homes.
And so this guy has already said $1 million.
Yes.
And this whole city takes 2?
It originally is 2. It's 2.5 now.
Okay, so 2.5
Yeah.
because we're visionaries and we don't necessarily know the thing.
It
But okay, so 2.5
Yes,
right now.
yes.
But you've already got $1 million of this.
We
More
do.
than that, obviously, because people are donating. I saw South Tree.
Yeah, South Tree is a great organization in Chattanooga, and they already committed to build the community development center. It's a $40,000 project.
Right.
And so they're dedicating a whole section of their website to their do good
I love
commitment. Yeah, and we've had Jeff and Jordan from Amazing Race and Big Brother and Around the World for Free. They went over with us. They're helping promote to get a certain level of celebrity. Then we're chasing all kinds of other leads that, you know, if there's probably 30 leads we're chasing, if 15 of them, if 10 of them work out, then it's going to be great for us. So.
Now you're, we're talking about giving money to this. You're a 501c3 not-for-profit, so everything is 100% tax deductible.
Absolutely.
How can people give you money?
They can, you know, if you're local in Cleveland, you can drive past People for Care and Learning at the old Hiawassee Grill and drop it off with a check. Both of our websites, which is peopleforcare.org and buildacity.org, we've tried to make it super easy and simple to give online. You can give any sort of way. You can give by a check online, American Express, Visa, MasterCard. Yeah, so those are the 2 primary ways.
And how much, if I give you, let's say I were to give you $20, how much of that 20 bucks goes to build a house versus to pay for like all your administrative costs?
Glad you asked. People for Care and Learning, for the last 12 years, we raise our entire administrative costs separate from our budget. So if you give $20 goes to, and that's not just for Build a City. If you sponsor a child, we don't take out any money for administrative costs.
That's fantastic.
Tell us for a quick second, then we got to go to commercial because we have another guest coming up.
Yeah, I heard it's pretty important.
But tell us for just a second, give us the snapshot of People for Care and Learning, because we're talking about Build a City, but People for Care is more than that. I mean, when I first met People for Care and Learning, I was actually doing some local promotions and met a band that was on tour raising money for building wells all over the place. And I just want to tell us, you know, if you don't mind, tell us about People for Care as an organization.
I went, First Baptist hooked up with People for Care and Learning about 3 years ago, which I already knew the director pretty well. And I went over to Cambodia, and man, I was blown away, just absolutely floored.
Windy there?
Yeah, it was so windy. I couldn't stand up. I didn't know. But just been there for 12 years, started with the children's home in Siem Reap. We have 27 kids there. We have 17 kids in a children's home in Phnom Penh, feeding centers. We have an associate's degree for the poor who can't afford to go to college. We have English Institute. We have a management institute. I mean, yeah, I can't. We have an integrated farm in Takam, which is all self-sustaining, helping the local villagers grow pigs, and have a rice bank where people actually check. It's like a bank. They check in their rice, and they can withdraw rice and make deposits. I mean, I could go on and on. It's just amazing what's happening.
People want to get involved.
Oh yeah.
I mean, is there volunteerism that's available? I mean, obviously there's donation. There's that way to do it. But what if somebody says, I want to get involved?
We would love to invite everybody to go with us, which is a pretty big, financial and time commitment. But we're taking several trips this year. I'll head out in 2 weeks again to go back. I'll go back in June. We're taking a trip in September, a trip in December. Go with us. We do have local interns and people that help locally to volunteer their time in different capacities. So those options are available.
What's it cost to go? If somebody says, Jake, I'm interested, go ahead, look at Camera One right now.
Tell
Camera One
you can go
how they go
to Cambodia with us for right around $3,000, which includes everything. First class tour of both Phnom Penh and Siem Reap and some of the local villages. That's your airfare, that's your food. That's
if you go now, you said that these people, you want them to be doing the work themselves, but when they go, there's going to be opportunity to not just catch the vision, but that's huge.
Yeah,
catching the vision, but they're going to have the opportunity to really be invested in what you're doing.
Each trip has some sort of nuance to it of service. Whether it's giving out water filtration systems or if it's the youth camp. The youth camp's a big deal in June. We go and do a youth camp every summer there. So every trip has some sort, but for the most part, just going and seeing PCL sites. You can do that for 9 days, all day long, every day, and just go from one to the other, and see it. And that's basically all you have time to do. That's how many PCL sites there are.
Well, let's say if I wanted to go to Cambodia, is there an opportunity for me to be a teller at the rice bank so that I could maybe work off my $3,000?
In rice. Yeah, you have to eat $3,000 worth of rice while you're there. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, well, that's the time we have for this segment. We're happy that you're with us.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for being with us. We're going to be right back in just a second with Jake Stum from First Baptist Church.
You'll love him.
I've heard he's good. I've heard he's all right. We're going to be right back after these messages.
I've actually heard that Jake Stum from First Baptist is going to do a tribute to Davy Jones and hook us up with the little a cappella Daydream Believer. So that will come back to that.
We'll
be right back.
I think he just left.
After this. Davy Jones.
Hi, I'm Dr. Dennis Ford, board certified in anti-aging medicine and pain management. Have you had recent decrease in energy, lack of sex drive, feel moody, grumpy, or sad? If so, you may have low testosterone and be a candidate for bioidentical hormone replacement. Listen to what two of my patients have to say.
Before I came to the Ford Clinic, I had to have a nap every day.
When I got off work, I'd lay around, really didn't want to do much and felt real lazy.
I've noticed since I had the testosterone implant that I can go a good 8 hours doing the things I enjoy doing.
I had it done, took about 25, 30 minutes, 5 months, and I'm doing good. My stomach, my muscles, they've completely changed. My fat level has dropped. Get to go out and run, exercise with my son. My muscles are just I'm getting stronger.
If you'd like to change your life, please call me at Ford Center for Pain Management and Anti-Aging Medicine at 423-400-9115.
It's a very simple process, and it's well worth it.
I'm Byron Winters with Landmark Insurance Brokerage. Contact me for all of your business insurance needs. From general liability to workers' comp, commercial auto, and business umbrellas, Landmark Insurance has you covered.
Hyperbaric Services of East Tennessee is now open in Cleveland. Hyperbaric oxygen therapy is an incredible treatment, clinically tested for a variety of physical and neurologic conditions, including autism, migraine headaches, even sprains and injuries. It is a simple, safe, and painless process that raises a patient's oxygen level, providing an array of health benefits. So whether you're dealing with a weekend sports injury, chronic condition, or looking for anti-aging, you owe it to yourself to explore what Hyperbaric Services can do for you.
Hi, I'm Brittany Jackson. Join me every Wednesday night at 6:30 and midnight where we will highlight local sports, chat with coaches, and discover new tips every week. Only on In the Spotlight with Brittany Jackson.
And we're back. You're watching Tennessee Valley this morning. I'm Rob Alderman. With me, as always, the Hollywood Slinky. We had a great guest the last section, but we've got a better guest this section.
Thank you.
With us right now, Jake Stum from First Baptist.
Yes.
Jake Stum, thanks for being with us.
You're so welcome. I appreciate that.
So I guess the burning question everyone really wants to know, the Monkees, fan?
No. Is that bad?
Yes.
I couldn't sing one monkey
gonna
song.
fit.
It's not good.
It's going to make this Daydream Believer sketch a little hard to pull off.
Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't quote a monkey tune.
Well, as a First Baptist guy,
Yeah.
if you can't quote the Monkees, we're going to play a little game called Rob and Ryan Try to Guess What Your Favorite Band Is. Are you ready?
Yeah, that'll be good. This is kind of scary.
I have dibs on DC Talk.
Ooh.
Really?
Yeah.
I would have went with Striper.
Striper. Nice.
How about
well
Carmen?
Played.
Carmen. You and Carmen have similar haircuts.
Michael W. Smith.
That hurts. Hurts. Deep.
Michael W. Smith is good.
I've actually been to a Carmen concert back in the day.
I don't care who you are. I don't care what you believe. When Carmen sings The Champion, if you don't sing, if you don't cry at the end, if you don't cry at the end, you don't have a soul.
If you don't cry or punch somebody.
Well, I do both.
Yeah.
I cry and punch. I just start punching and crying.
I have the same experience whenever the Monkees do the Porpoise song.
Well, since you said no to DC Talk, then that means you're going to be one of those hip Christian guys that pretends it's Coldplay.
Oh, well, I do like Coldplay.
Are you old enough to be a part of the All-Star United movement?
I know, yeah, to a certain extent, yeah.
What's your favorite band, if it's not the Monkees?
Let's see, right now, I've been listening to The Fray a lot, their new album.
That's like Coldplay, but more Christian.
Yeah, Coldplay, more Christian, yeah.
Yeah, Coldplay, but more Christian.
Need to Breathe.
I like Need to Breathe.
I'm a closet hip-hop fan, so.
Are you?
So big Aaron Weatherford
fan? So you're big on Aaron Weatherford.
Oh, yeah, he's one of my favorites.
And so I've
got him on my iPod right now.
I wasn't that far off on the DC Talk thing.
No, back in the day, DC Talk, that was the jam.
Yeah, they were the jam. They were the jam. Well, speaking of the jam.
I didn't know they were ever the jam.
They were the jam. God is doing that new thing. You know he's doing it. Yo, he's doing it.
The Hard Way, that was my favorite. Remember The Hard Way?
Yes. Woo. Listen, speaking of the hard way, you're Baptist. And you're here to talk about it.
That's right.
You are here to proclaim from the rooftops what's going down at that little tiny church that's down the road from It's down the road from Food Lion or whatever that thing is down there.
And Jordan's.
Yeah, it's like kind of across the street from Jordan's.
It's sort of like it's the halfway house between Jordan's and Antonio's.
Yeah, it's a tiny. Most of you there, camera one. Most of you haven't seen it. It's brand new. How long has that thing been built?
About a year and a half.
And it's really small.
It's like 2,200 square feet.
You miss it. You just drive right by and miss it if you weren't paying attention. I think I speak for everyone in Cleveland when I say the main burning question about First Baptist is this.
I'm scared.
The Halloween thing, the party thing that you have there.
Yeah.
People had to park at Antonio's.
Yeah.
What are we going to do? How are we fixing Halloween in this town, Stum?
I don't know.
That's what we want to know.
That's a good question.
Do you hear me? Camera 2?
Camera 1. Camera 2.
Camera 2.
Camera 1.
Hey, that's nice. I didn't know that trick.
That's the magic of television. That's the magic
That's
of television.
beautiful.
So you don't have an answer.
We are working on solutions, but we do not have the answer.
You know,
it was a little bit better this year.
That thing was not a joke.
Well, let me ask this. Since you're not doing that, what do you do?
What do you do there?
All right. At First Baptist, I primarily oversee the missions, the international missions program. I do some marriage enrichment things called Married Life. I'm helping out with a new service we're starting March 11th, which we can talk about that in a minute. I'm pretty stoked about that. Nice segue.
New service.
Big breaking story.
Big
we're working with a team of people to do a new web design and then some other special projects.
Have you considered maybe sending some of these people that overcrowded the Halloween gathering off on a mission sometime around the 28th of October?
Maybe
Next year. They need to go to Cambodia next year on the 28th. That's a great plan.
So that just my kids can jump on all
Camera
those.
one,
my kids.
I need 1,000 of you, or maybe 3,000 of you, to go to Cambodia October 28th next year.
Fantastic. Is that how many you had? 3,000?
Oh, no. There's quite a bit more than that.
Good grief.
Yeah.
The candy,
Thousands.
man. How much candy? Where did
You have no idea.
How'd you...
We have
Did
volunteers, man.
M&M Mars donate the candy?
We had a lot of volunteers. We did have some donations, but volunteers packaged it all. Every bag was packaged.
Well, you know what?
Hot dog. I grilled hot dogs for like 7 hours.
Just to make certain that we don't run out of time, let's jump right into this new service.
Tell
that
us
seems
about
like where
this
the
new
excitement
service.
is. Tell us about the new service.
All right. So we have our service on Sunday morning schedule, 8:30, 9:45, 11:05. The 9:45 service is our most crowded. If you get there at 9:40, you basically can't find a seat. So
it's like Halloween all over again.
Yeah, it is.
Which is kind of weird. Does it make you think that maybe in building this new small church, you should have gone bigger?
Yes. Yes.
Okay,
When our church experienced, after we committed to build, our church experienced more growth than we thought. So yeah, in hindsight,
You don't need to worry about that, because when somebody else builds a church, everyone's going to be able to find a seat at 9:45. I've been around Christians a while. Let's say a while.
A while. That's
and
right.
I can just say that when someone else builds a carnival thing, maybe there'll be a little bit of room. And that's when I'm planning my strategic move to First Baptist.
Oh, that's funny.
Your kid's over here like mean mugging me.
Yeah.
No one is ever not going to go to First Baptist.
That's right. Yeah,
No, seriously,
I got them
though,
back
tell
up here.
Tell us about it.
Okay, so we're March 11th. We're starting a simulcast venue, which should be up in the youth room. But we're asking. It's going to be a different style of worship. The band that leads, sometimes at some of our youth services, some of our college services, called Drawn Out. Excellent band, great worship band. They're going to be leading worship in that venue, and then right after the worship, the same sermon at 9:45 will be simulcast in the youth room. So Brother Allen will be on video.
So they'll have their own music.
Right.
And it'll be a little bit more DC talky.
DC, I don't know about that.
It'll be a little bit more, Carmen.
Yeah, yeah.
But
we're gonna do the champion.
But the same sermon.
Same sermon, yeah. So I'm really excited about that.
How big is that room?
That
how many
room,
people will that fit?
We can shove in about 225 into that room. So it's a smaller venue, and we want it to be more intimate. So that's the goal, and then we have some.
How big does your sanctuary have to be where 225 is a more intimate venue?
Yeah, go ahead. How big is that sanctuary? We know we're asking. I know that's the kind of thing that pastors want to be real humble about, but we're hard-nosed journalists.
Yeah, you are. You just nailed me to the wall here. No, I believe with the choir loft seats, if I'm not mistaken, it's about 1,400.
And that's full at 9:40.
I could be wrong.
At 9:40, while Slinky is still not even
9:40,
thinking about waking up.
Yeah, and then the 11:05 service is about the same. I mean, we're about, and then the 8:30 is our least crowded, just because it's earlier in the
What
morning.
about the 12:30 to 1:30 service?
We don't have one yet. Yeah, that's the next.
I know a couple of
next step.
guys that might be interested.
There you go.
In that,
you guys can help us start that one.
We're gonna MC.
We could host it. We could MC it the same way we do this show.
Oh man,
what do you think?
We couldn't handle the crowd.
Pastor, camera one, Pastor, think about it. We have 4 questions for you before you go away.
Oh, wow, okay.
Because we've got one more segment we've got to get to, so we're going to have to wrap this one up. But we never wrap this up without asking.
It's our belief that you can learn everything you need to know about a person by asking these 4 questions.
All right.
All right, question number 1. What is your favorite movie of all time?
Oh, man, I hate questions like that.
Yeah, they hate you. These questions hate you.
These questions are doing everything they can to build a city, Jake. What are you doing?
My favorite movie of all time. How?
That was clever. It was. I thought it was funny.
I'm going to throw out there something real manly, like Braveheart.
Okay,
All right,
that's fair.
Okay.
Braveheart's your favorite of all time.
It's
yeah.
It's funny. I had a Braveheart moment just this week. My wife and daughter have went up north to be with their parents with my wife's parents for like a week. And as soon as they left, like the first thing I did was I ran out into the rain and painted my face blue and was yelling freedom.
Wow.
He takes it seriously.
Yeah, he does.
He takes it seriously.
Did you have on a kilt?
No.
No. Okay.
He saves that for when they're home.
Well, I used one of my wife's dresses. It was all I could find.
It was a little awkward.
A skirt. Yeah. It was a skirt.
Let's next question.
All right, it wasn't even a skirt. It was skirts. But that was all I could find.
He was standing in the rain in skirts with a blue face.
Freedom!
Oh, I like it. Question
My
2.
neighbors were like, "Are you doing Avatar?"
Question number 2.
Question number 2.
That's good.
What do you think is the best movie ever made?
Oh, man.
Not your favorite, but the best.
The best movie ever made. Man, these are killers for me. Best movie ever made. Luke, what are you saying?
Puss in Boots.
Puss in Boots. Best movie ever made. Straight from the lips.
That's all right. You know what? Taking the answer from
hold
your
on
kid
a second. Wait, I
tells
want to
us
pause this.
something
I want to
about
pause
you.
this.
Yes.
Come here. Who's this?
This is Luke, my oldest son.
Luke, come here. You're clearly incapable of answering these questions, but Luke knows what's up. So, Luke, you're going to answer these questions for your dad. Are you ready?
Luke, you need to come this way.
Yeah, come this way. Come this way. Are you ready?
There you go.
We're going to share a mic here, Jimmy Logan style.
All right.
Palo loves this. Okay. What's your favorite movie of all time?
Spy Kids.
What is the best movie of all time?
Spy Kids.
He just said Puss in Boots.
Yeah, you said Puss in Boots.
You've
Okay,
got it.
Puss in Boots.
Okay.
All right,
What
okay.
are the other two? Ask.
All right. What movie have you seen more times than any other?
It's a curse. It's the Stum curse.
Wow, he gets it from you.
Yeah.
What movie do you watch the most?
Real Steel.
All right.
Okay.
And then what do you think is the funniest movie ever made?
You're killing me, Luke.
Dustin, what's the funniest movie ever made? Tom and Jerry? Dustin says Tom
We
and
have
Jerry.
Dustin over in the corner says Tom and Jerry.
All right.
That's fair. Well, we got to go to commercial, Luke. We appreciate your valiant effort on TV to save your dad from himself, but it didn't quite... Listen, if it makes you feel any better, clearly we know that one day you're going to be out saving a city and building it and working at a gigantic church. So things work out for you. Things work out for the Stump Clan.
What do you want to be when you grow up?
A photographer.
You heard it here first.
Yeah, we were the first ones on the case. We'll be right back after these messages with the preview review. Thanks, Jake.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
I'm Kathy Guy with Landmark Insurance Brokerage. Call us today for all your personal insurance needs. With 28 years in the insurance business, I have the solutions and pricing you are looking for. At Landmark Insurance Brokerage, we've got you covered.
Hello, I'm Dr. Gupta, and I'd like to introduce you to a valuable new healthcare solution here in Cleveland. Hyperbaric Services of East Tennessee is now open and accepting patients. Hyperbaric oxygen therapy is an incredible treatment clinically tested for a variety of physical and neurologic conditions, including autism, multiple sclerosis, fibromyalgia, migraine headaches, chronic fatigue syndrome, and even sports injuries and sprains. Hyperbaric oxygen therapy is a simple, safe, and painless process that raises a patient's oxygen level in the body. This increased oxygen level in our tissues and organs boosts the body's natural healing abilities and allows our bodies to function at a higher level. We will be happy to work in cooperation with your regular physician. However, referral is not required for this treatment. So whether you're dealing with a weekend injury, a chronic medical condition, or looking for anti-aging solutions, you owe it to yourself to explore what hyperbaric oxygen treatment can do for you or your loved ones. I invite you to contact us today for some more information.
Hi, I'm Brittany Jackson. Join me every Wednesday night at 6:30 and midnight where we will highlight local sports, chat with coaches, and discover new tips every week. Only on In the Spotlight with Brittany Jackson.
Hi, I'm Dr. Dennis Ford, board certified in anti-aging medicine and pain management. Have you had recent decrease in energy, lack of sex drive, feel moody, grumpy, or sad? If so, you may have low testosterone and be a candidate for bioidentical hormone replacement. Listen to what 2 of my patients have to say.
Before I came to the Ford Clinic, I had to have a nap every day.
When I got off work, I'd lay around, really didn't want to do much and felt real lazy.
I've noticed since I had the testosterone implant that I can go a good 8 hours doing the things I enjoy doing.
I had it done, it took about 25, 30 minutes, 5 months, and I'm doing good. My stomach, my muscles, they've completely changed. My fat level has dropped. I get to go out and run, exercise with my son. My muscles are just getting stronger.
If you'd like to change your life, please call me at Ford Center for Pain Management and Anti-Aging Medicine at 423-400-9115.
Very simple process, and it's well worth it.
Edition of Tennessee Valley this morning.
Welcome, 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 welcome.
It is time for the preview. This is the part of the show where we review movies based solely on the previews and all the other things that we've found so far about them. We've not seen these movies, but that doesn't change the fact that we know if you should see it or not.
These are coming to a theater near you.
First up, Tim and Eric's $1 billion movie.
This is a film about a couple of guys that want to make a movie, but they squander every dime. It's full of a bunch of famous people all making cameos. It does not look that funny to me.
It is based on a TV show called The Tim and Eric Awesome Show. Great job.
Yep.
Yeah, gonna hate it. It looks dumb.
It is the kind of humor that I want to like. It's like what Steve Carell does good, but they do it bad.
Sure.
That's what it is. I'm going to give it a hate.
All right, next up. This is not a film.
Yeah,
that's the title.
This one's kind of getting a little bit of a buzz. There's a guy overseas. I would butcher his name, but I'm going to give it a shot. He's an acclaimed director, and his name is Jafar Panahi. And Jafar has been under house arrest for a while. And he's not allowed to make movies.
I should point out, this is a documentary, so he is the real person is under house arrest.
Right, a real guy is under house arrest. He's been banned from making movies, I think, for 20 years.
20 years.
And he's serving a sentence, 6 years in prison. And somebody sneaks us a phone,
an iPhone, inside of a cake,
and they do a documentary.
And it was accepted into Cannes.
And people like it.
So, there you have it.
I give it a hate.
I give it a hate as well.
Not going to watch it. Next up, The Lorax in 3.
Woo-hoo! This film is coming right out of the screen at you. This is an adaptation, of course, of the Dr. Seuss book, The Lorax. It's about a little boy who's trying to find the one thing that will allow him to win the affection of the girl of his dreams. And to find it, he has to discover the story of the Lorax, which is this grumpy yet charming critter.
Yeah, and it's all about kind of conservation and stuff like that,
right?
I'm the Lorax, I speak for the trees.
I'm the Lorax, hear me roar. At first, I was kind of miffed on this one because I think the Dr. Seuss movie has kind of been played out, and I'm kind of over it, especially the live action stuff. But there is something about this one that is really caught on and has really sparked a little bit of charismatic interest in me.
Interesting. I'm giving it a hate, but Dan is going to love it. The final movie we need to talk about is Project X. The Hangover's Todd Phillips produces this top-secret comedy. And it is all we know is that the trailer is insanity. High school kids going crazy everywhere.
It looks like a bunch of college-aged or high school-aged kids having some crazy, like, neighborhood-wide party where things explode and stuff goes crazy and it's insane. But you're not supposed to know what the plot is.
And you don't know anybody that's in the film. They're all brand new. All I can say is that the reviews of people who've seen this do say it is the craziest party movie you've ever seen. So if you like Animal House, If you like The Hangover, this is supposed to be more.
That's right. If you are now, I'm giving this one personally a hate, but Nancy Neal is gonna love it.
Yes, yes, she is. I'm actually giving this one a great, based on, now great is we're gonna see it. I wanna go see this because they have done such a good job of making sure no one knows what's gonna happen that I do wanna know. I do want to know. Anyway, that's it for the preview review.
Wow.
All of these are done.
That's
Until
amazing.
next time, I'm Rob Alderman, and I love Cleveland.
And I am the Hollywood Slinky, and I love Cleveland.
Let's all love Cleveland together. We'll see you next time.